Good morning. My name is John Sharp, and I am the Ed Tech trainer at Tempe High School. And today we're going to talk about Flipgrid. And I was already talking to Amanda earlier about this. I teach at ASU, and I teach Ed Tech courses and communication courses, and also most recently sustainability courses. And I use Flipgrid in all my classes, and students really love it because it has a real social networking kind of feel to it, and most of my students are probably under 30, so they really enjoy that. And I think from my experience using it with high school students, they really like it also. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and jump right in. I've already shared my screen, and what I'm going to do is start with a little bit of a presentation just to give you kind of some background on Flipgrid. And then after that, we'll actually go ahead and get your, you guys can sign up today and you can start building your grids and your topics today too, okay? So let me just jump back. I don't know why I went there. So welcome to Flipgrid. Again, my name is John Sharp. And what is Flipgrid? So it's like an online discussion board. It has a feel like a social learning platform or social networking platform. So that's why students really seem to be drawn into it. And instead of just typing out text to respond to like a discussion prompt, students actually record video. Okay, so so that their classmates can see them and they can hear them talking. And right now, I think that's a really great thing because I think a lot of people are feeling kind of isolated, and I think this is a great way for students to kind of engage with their classmates and feel a little more connection. Okay, and what it does is a lot like what a discussion board would do. Students would probably respond to an initial post, and then they could respond to a classmate's post. And what that can do is create a really robust web of discussion. Okay, so let's jump on in. And I want to tell you some of the features. First of all, it's free. And when I say free, it truly is free. And at one point, teachers were limited to 3 grids, but Microsoft has upgraded this. So now teachers have unlimited number of grids, which I'll explain in a minute. They can do an unlimited number of topics and have an unlimited number of student responses, which is really terrific. Another great thing is that students don't need to create an account. They use a flip code in order to access the discussion, which you can link directly from Schoology. There's also not a limit on the number of students that can join a grid. So you can have, well over 100 students if you wanted to attend one grid. And a great thing is, I know that some teachers would probably be a little reluctant to use this because of the video situation, but teachers do have the ability to moderate the videos, which is great. Students can record video, they can upload files, they can share links. They also have a whiteboard. So if students want to share some ideas on a whiteboard, they certainly can do that too. And I'll show you when we get to the student part of this presentation. The videos can go from 15 seconds to 5 minutes, which is, is a pretty good amount of time. Most of the posts from the classes that I've taught at ASU have been usually within the 2 to 3 minute range. But if you're giving them a project, they might likely need 5 minutes. And I'm going to show you an example of a project that would likely take 5 minutes a little bit later in this webinar. Like I said, video moderation is possible. It's just a setting when a teacher goes to create the topic. There are some privacy features in there, so you don't need to worry about other people jumping into the conversation or being inappropriate from outside of your classroom environment. They do offer closed captioning. Sometimes if you mispronounce something or say something close to an inappropriate word, it'll pick up that inappropriate word, unfortunately. I've had that happen in one of my classes before. One thing that's great is there's a whole library of topics available. It's called the Disco Library in Flipgrid. So there's tons of topics that teachers, both like all the way K-12 can explore, that you might want to consider using as part of your grid. And the really great thing about this, and I'm sure you'll feel this way by the end of the webinar, is that it's super easy for teachers and students to use. Okay. So what I like to do is I'm going to show you how to sign up for Flipgrid, but I'm going to check in with you just to see right now if you have any questions. Is everybody good so far? Very cool. So if you're able to follow along, what I would recommend is creating a new tab up at the top in your browser. And if you're able to, I would encourage you to create your own Flipgrid as we go along, because I'm going to show you how to do it. And first, I'm going to show you in my presentation, then I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to sign up too. And then I'm going to give you the opportunity to sign up. Okay, so let me just show you quickly what you need to do. In my presentation here, you go to flipgrid.com, okay, and you'll click on the sign up today in the top right corner. And then what you're going to do is, what I recommend you do is use your TUHSD Google account. So you'll sign up with Google. Okay, so I'm going to actually do that right now if you want to watch me, and then I'm going to give you a minute or two to go ahead and sign up on your own. Okay, so I'm going to click on this educator sign up in the top right corner. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Hold on, that kind of cheated a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to sign up with my Google account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my TUHSD Google account, and that's going to be at tuhsd.k12.az.us. So I'm going to click on that. And my login was successful. Guess what? I just need to fill out a little bit of information here. I'm going to put my name. Well, my name is actually already populated. So I'm going to put United States. And I'm going to put high school. And I'm going to put my birthday. Don't everybody look. I'm old. I'm going to have to scroll for a while here. Okay, so once I get that information in, I have now created my Flipgrid account. So you can see how super easy that was to start my own grid. Okay, so what I'd like to do is give you a moment. I'll put the instructions up here again. Go to flipgrid.com and click up in the right-hand corner where it says sign up today. And then you're just going to join signing up with your Google account. So use your TUHSD account to do that. Okay. Go ahead and take a minute or two to go ahead and sign up. And if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, has everyone had an opportunity, if you would like to go ahead and sign up right now? You could give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. Okay, right on. Okay, well,
I did, John, I have a quick question.
Absolutely, Jonathan.
So I just flipped in and I entered into it and did everything. And then I just caught a little word on the bottom, something about consent forms or something.
Okay, for your students, you probably won't need to worry about that. As if they're, I believe it's 14 or older, and I think all of our students would be 14 or older.
Okay,
So
okay, all right.
Really great question, though. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, since everybody has our account now, which is super exciting, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to show you that I've already created some grids. Okay, you don't have any grids yet, and one thing I want to show you quickly is I want to explain something. So just kind of share with you Flipgrid lingo, the difference between a grid versus a topic. So I want you to think of a grid as a community, okay? So that might be one of your classes. And what I would recommend is that you make a grid for each class you teach, okay? The one thing to keep in mind, let's say you are an English teacher and you teach 3 sessions of freshman English and then 2 sessions of sophomore and then 1 senior. So what I would recommend, and this depends on you, is creating a grid for each one of your freshman English classes, unless you're okay with them all mixing together. The only issue with mixing all of them together is that makes for a lot of work when you're sifting through to grade them, if you decide to grade them. Because some teachers I know at TUHSD have up to 38 kids in their classroom. So if you multiply that by 3, that's a whole lot of kids in one grid. So what I would recommend is that you make a grid for each one of your classes, and you could call it Freshman English Period 1, Freshman English Period 2, and that way you could keep them separate. And I want you to think of a grid also as a book, okay, if you compare it to a topic. A topic is like a chapter in there. And the topic would be like a prompt that you're going to use for your students. And you can create a new topic or prompt every single day. And you can add those topics to a grid, okay? So what you'll do is you'll create your grids, which are your classroom communities, and then you'll have your topics underneath each one, which is like a discussion board, an individual discussion board, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you, again, I'm cheating a little bit here. I already have some grids created. So if you look at this one is my, I made it TUHSD Flipgrid. This is my first period class. So I'm gonna go back, and there's not anything in there right now. Oops, sorry about that. I had a little glitch there for a second. Oh no, please don't tell me my screen is locked. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try that again. I'll see if I can refresh my screen. I'm going to exit for now, and I'm going to go into my other account, and I'm going to click on my grids. I wonder if it's confused because I'm in between my 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my grids, and I am going to add a new grid. Okay, so let's say I wanted to add a new grid for my 3rd period class. So I'm going to add a new grid, and you can do this too. I'll give you a minute to do that. And I'm going to call this grid, I'm just going to pretend like I'm a freshman English teacher. Freshman English Period 2, Mr. Sharp. Okay, and what I recommend is that you have students access your Flipgrid through school email. So I would prefer you not use school ID or public and PLC. So use that school email option. Okay, the really cool thing about this Flipgrid code down here is I can edit it. So maybe I want it to be Mr. S, period 3, okay? And you'll see that it's available. Sometimes you may pick something and it's already been used by another educator, so you may have to revise it. So this would be the unique Flipgrid that I would use for my students. Again, they don't have to create their own accounts. What you're gonna do is just give them this code right here, and they will be able to access anything within that grid. So I'm gonna click on next. And because I chose the school email address option, you need to put in some parameters here for emails, okay? So it already picked up on this one at TUHSD, which is the one that I use for my email addresses. But you have to remember that students use different email addresses at Tempe Union. So I'm gonna add another one in here, which I'm gonna call at stu.tempeunion.org. And that's how students in our, 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 in our in our domain would have to sign up for or sign in to the grid. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got that selected. Ooh, it didn't. I don't think it took that. Sorry about that. Let's do that again. It's at stu.tempeunion.org. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click on next because I've done the tuhsd.k12. So that's if I were to pull in other educators within my department or someone else from the district. And it also isn't going to include all the students. So I'm going to click on next. Okay, so your grid is ready now. Okay, so all you need to do is share this with your students. Okay, I'm not quite ready to share this with my students because there's no topic in there yet. So what I'm going to do is go to my grids. And what you'll see is my brand new grid has been created. I want to do some edits though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the little pencil here so I can change the settings so they're appropriate for what I want. Again, it's going to show all the information that I've already put in and how I selected the way students will enter the grid. So what they're going to do is when they put in that code, they'll be required to put in their Gmail, their student Gmail account, and it'll take them right to the grid, okay? The reason why I'm coming back in to edit a little bit is because I want to look at these features here to make sure that they are appropriate, okay? So you have the ability to get notifications when students' videos are submitted. I don't recommend that you have this on every new video, because every time a student were to submit a video, you would get a notification. In fact, you probably don't even need this to be on, okay? If you wanted to get a daily email that told all the students that had submitted, that might be fine, or a weekly, but you certainly don't want it for every new video. I'm gonna put mine on never because I'm just gonna check my, Flipgrid every day to see who is adding videos to my prompts, okay? Another option is download and share. Allow students to download and share after creating their videos. I usually keep that on. I don't think it's a big deal to have that on. The captions, display auto-generated captions. I typically keep that off. If you do have somebody in your class that needs closed captioning type feature, then you certainly can turn that on. Totally up to you. I will leave that up to you. If you do want captions, you just need to be aware that sometimes if people mispronounce things, sometimes the captions can pick up on that and create something that's a little bit of a gobbledygook, okay? Grid followers, you can allow students to receive email notifications when new topics are created and new videos are recorded. That is when you do a video or when you create a new topic. So it's not when other students do. So that wouldn't be a bad thing to turn on. So your students would know that you've created a new discussion board topic in the grid. Okay, so you can put that on. And then active state, this is whether the students can see it or not. Okay, there's 3 different choices. You'll only see active and hidden here, but there's a frozen one too when you get out. So active would mean that students could see it. Hidden would mean that students would not be able to see it when they logged into the grid, okay? And then the third option is frozen, and that is if you were to give them a deadline. Let's say if you gave them a deadline till Friday, after Friday at midnight, it would become frozen, meaning that they can still go in and see all the videos that were previously submitted, but they cannot submit an additional one, okay? And then the captioning, whether you want it in English or in another language, okay? And then last, you can personalize this. So this would be what the students see in terms of a picture. I'm kind of partial to the nature ones. They have 4 different tabs here. These are the featured ones that you can select from for the top of your grid. Kind of like the nature ones, they're really cool. I like the beach one here, I might use that in this case. There's also some people and then some textures on the last one. So you have the ability to kind of personalize it a little bit. If you have a picture that kind of meets this banner criteria where it's very wide and not tall, you could upload that right by clicking on this and just loading that file, and it will upload as part of your personalization. I'm going to go back into nature for my third period class. I'm going to pick this beach because I'm feeling like that's where I want to be right now. Okay, so I'm going to upgrade grid. And you'll notice now you've got the picture of the beach there, and it has saved all my settings that I put in. You'll notice that the grid is active. And if I wanted to share my grid right now, I could just click on this and copy that link and load it right into Schoology for students to click on. Okay, so I'm just going to stop for a second. I want to make sure we're all on the same page and it's not super confusing as to how to create a grid. Remember, a grid is your community, so you're going to want to create a grid for each one of your classes. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Let me check and make sure there's none in the. Yes, I definitely will do that. Let me put the sign in real quick for you, Peggy. Okay, the sign in's there. Okay, so what we've done now, I'm going to go into this, and you can see that I've created my first grid. So what you need to do on this grid right here is to add a topic so that students can respond to it, okay? So for my freshman English period 2 class, what I want to do is I want them, while they're at home right now, I want them to read a book. And they can pick any book as long as it's high school appropriate and it has at least 150 pages. And what I want them to do is read that book and provide a book review for their classmates, okay? And I have some specific parameters on what I expect. So underneath this grid, which is my second period class, I'm going to add a new topic. So if you click on add a new topic here, I'm going to put, for the title, book review. And remember I said that the videos can be up to 5 minutes long. In this case, I am going to give them the full 5 minutes, okay? It does say 10 minutes there, but the videos are limited to actually 5 minutes. So I'm going to put 5 minutes in there. And then I've kind of cheated already. I wrote a little bit of a prompt earlier today, so just to save some time. And I'm going to copy that right into my topic. And there you'll see. And I noticed it changed the formatting a little bit, so I'm going to do title, author. Oops, sorry about that. I see it took out my, so I put title, author, overview of the characters and plot. Sorry about that. I was hoping that that would just take my formatting, and it didn't. Why you selected this book, and would you recommend to a classmate? Okay. Why or why not? Okay, so now they know the parameters. They've got to select a book that's at least 150 pages long and appropriate for high school. Once you've read the book, you'll provide a video review of the book in 5 minutes or less. And the Flipgrid review should include the following items, okay? So just to make it a little more interesting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload an image for this particular topic. So I'm going to click on add an image. I'm going to find an image in my my library of images. So I'm going to select this one right here because it's kind of a fun image. And you'll have to you have to note that it only takes JPEGs, and I'm sorry, it only takes JPEGs, and sorry, I'm going to go ahead and save that. And PNGs, I'm sorry. So what you'll notice is that picture has been included with this topic at this point. So if I wanted to add a video too, or some other options, I can click on more options down here, and I can add some other features too. And it also lets me go in and be very specific on what I want for this particular topic in terms of settings, okay? This allows me to moderate if I wanted to, so I could approve videos before they are posted to the board if I wanted to do that. And again, you can set dates on launching and freezing. Like launching would be when it becomes available, and freezing would be when students could no longer respond, okay? And there's also specifics in here if you want the students to be able to put their selfies and videos in, and you certainly probably do. It's kind of a fun part of being a student in Flipgrid. So go through and you can pick the different options available that students can have when they are reviewing or developing their video, okay? So I feel good with what I've put in here, and I feel good with the video features that I have. If you want to do likes, if you want to add likes to it, you certainly can do that to make it feel a little more social networky. I'm going to create my topic now. You'll notice there's a Flipgrid for this particular topic now. I'm going to hold off on doing that. I'm just going to say all set. And this is what the student would see when they go in to answer this particular topic under the grid. So I'm going to go back to my grid for a second. Again, I'm going to click on this grid, and you'll see that I've got this topic developed here. If I need to go back in for any reason to edit it, I just click on the pencil. If we get to a point where I no longer want it to be active, I can either freeze it, which means they can still see the grid from previous posts, but they can't add to it, or hidden means they will not see it at all, okay? All right, I'm gonna check back in with you because now we've created a grid and we've created a topic under that grid, okay? Any questions? Okay, cool. I'm gonna go in as a student now, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log out of this one and log into my other. Hold on one second, I apologize. Okay, so this is what a student, normally for us, since we're using the email function, you would go in and the student would just put in their email address to get in once they put in that flip code. Okay, so I've already put in my flip code, and you can see this has taken me to my first period class. And my teacher has 2 different topics available right now. So you can pull down this topic menu and you can see that my teacher has assigned Let's Get Acquainted and What's Up. So I'm going to do the What's Up first, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add a video. None of my other classmates have added a video yet, okay? So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to add a video. Okay, and you'll see that I'm kind of a picture within a picture now, and I am ready to go ahead and record my video. Okay, and then once I've started recording, I'm going to go through some of the features that are available here. Okay, so I'm just going to make it real quick, and I'll do a 15-second because that's the least I can do. You'll notice that there's a little 2-minute timer up in the right-hand corner that'll tell me that that's the amount of time I have left. Okay. Hey classmates, this is John, and I have been working nonstop since spring break ended. I have been making lots of webinars for teachers and helping teachers to navigate Schoology. So I've been super busy, and I'm also helping my kids at home to get adjusted to school online and just trying to adjust to staying in and social distancing. So I haven't been doing a whole lot besides work, but I am still having some fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop that there. I have the ability to redo it if I want to, if I'm feeling like, oh, that was terrible. I can just click redo, start it all over again. What I can do is I can click on next to review it. And what that'll do is it'll let me listen to what I've done. If students want to, they can click on a sticky note up here, and they can add notes for themselves, like what they want to say. This does not appear on their final video, but if they want to take some notes like talk about spring break, talk about social distancing, like if they wanted to remember what they needed to talk about. They can put little sticky notes on there so that when they're making their video, it kind of prompts them on the things that they want to say, okay? You'll notice that I took up a little bit, about 30 seconds of time on the video. Let's say I want to record some more, like I just got some great new ideas. All I need to do is hit that record again, and it will continue. It'll pick up where I left off. If I want to, I can add filters. If this is going to make me look more beautiful, I can make the yellow, blue, the orange. You can do all different kinds of filters. Students love doing this kind of stuff. If I wanted to add, I'm just going to shut the filters one, and I'm going to go to the text, and I'm going to add. Let's see, I'll add purple. So this is going to appear in my video, like at the end, and they'll be able to see, hey guys, if you don't want to use that, you don't have to. You can delete it, you can move it around wherever you want. And this is the one that's the most fun, is adding stickers. And I typically add the stickers later. If you want to draw on you can draw. If you want to use a whiteboard, if students want to use a whiteboard, they can use a whiteboard. You can choose between a whiteboard and a blackboard. So I'll choose the whiteboard, and I can say, hey, if I wanted to do something here, I could add to it. But I'm not going to use the whiteboard at all. And then finally, you can add a custom sticker. And so if you want to drag an emoji or something from somewhere that you have that you want to put on your screen, you can do that. You can see my screen has gotten quite busy here, and I'm hoping that most students wouldn't want to do that. But what I'm going to do, now that I got my video, I'm going to go to next, because I'm satisfied. I want to hear what it sounds like. Hey classmates, this is John, and I have been working nonstop. Okay, sounds good to me. So I'm going to go on to the next section. And this is the really fun part. This is where you take a selfie. The kids take a selfie, so they would just smile. Sorry. And it'll grab a selfie, and you can add filters to it. You can add text again. Stickers, this is the fun one, and this is the one that they like the most. Adding, they can add like little things. If you wanted to add some cool sunglasses or a crown or some, add, let's see, I think today I'm going to add a Joker hat. So what you do is you can just resize it so that it fits your head. It's a little small. Grab it again. That's about right. I'm going to go back in, add one more, maybe some cool glasses, because mine are kind of goofy. You can add hair, blue hair, all different kinds of things. I'll add, let's find some cool glasses. I'll add these. So I look like a total nerd here, and I'm ready to go ahead and publish, okay? So it says don't close the window, because the students need to do one more thing. They can change their display name, and they can add a title. I'll just put John's introduction. And then if they wanted to create a link, if they actually created a video outside, they can put a link to that video right there. And then once you submit, you get all these fireworks, and then they have the choice of downloading the video or downloading the selfie, but that is one of the options. Remember, you can turn that off. And then I'm just going to say complete. And now you'll see that my video has been here. And then another student could come in and click on that and respond to my video. So as you can see, it's real easy for a student to come in and record a response. There's lots of different features that they can use. And I've been using Flipgrid for many years, and I've never had a student that was challenged in using it, okay? I know that I've used it mostly with college students, but it really is very simple, and there's a great library of tutorials for students that you could create a link to also in case they did need some assistance. Okay, I'm going to go into another one of my grids. So I'm going to log out as the student, And I just want to check in with you. Are there any questions about how a student would create a video? Okay, cool.
I have a question, John. I'm sorry. So my kids aren't really very computer savvy or comfortable with even taking risks and trying to click around.
Okay.
I know that you showed us a way that's, you showed us how students can upload their video and make one. Is there the option for teachers when we're logged in as teachers to create like a model, kind of like you're doing with us, some sort of very quick tutorial that we can post as teachers, or do we have to create, kind of like you did just now, a student account to be able to show them that?
You know what? Like I said, their tutorials on the Flipgrid in their help center, you probably could just embed those videos right into Schoology, and that would be enough for students to be able to create their own. And that way it saves you from having to create a tutorial for your students, really. And I can show you. Let me log in as an educator, okay? And I am gonna do my Google login, and I'm actually gonna use my my ASU one because I want to show you. See, I've got grids here already, but I want to show you, if you go up to the right-hand corner and you pull down, there's a help center here. And if you just scroll down, there is a whole section on getting started students. And I provide this link at the end of my presentation. But there's a really quick video on how to create a video, and it's only 48 seconds long. So students won't, get bored. And then it tells them this is it. This is all they need to know in order to do a grid, to do a Flipgrid. Okay. So they've got the video showing them how to do it and exactly what they need to do in order to get into the grid. So it's not a whole lot of information that's required.
Okay? Awesome. Thank you.
So, and again, I'll provide that link at the end, but it's right under the Help Center. And I promise you that your students, even if they are kind of tech challenged, they will be able to do this, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my flip, or my grid, sorry, I always call it a flip. And let me get there. And these are my grids that I've already created. And one of them is, the one that I wanna show you is this TUHSD one. And I'm going to view it as a student again. So I'm just going to log in, and this is how I have it set up. Okay, so this is what they would see when they log into the grid. And again, remember you saw this and you saw this. I'm going to show you another example of how students have already logged into this one. So this one was called Let's Get Acquainted. And this is the one that I do at the very beginning of my class, just to kind of introduce yourself, tell your classmates a little bit about yourself so that they can start to develop a learning community and start to develop a little bit of a bond with some of their classmates. So you'll see that I've got quite a few students that have already posted to this grid, or to this topic actually, and we've got some very strange people in here. But one of these examples is a student that I had, and I absolutely love this, so I like to share. Hey everybody, it's nice to meet you. My name is Justin, and I'm a teacher. I just majored in a senior that rhymes. I'm taking this online because I don't have the time. I work with little dudes that have autism. This was face to face, I would really miss them. Just kidding. Hey everybody. So that was really cool. I mean, it was a very creative way of kind of introducing herself. But what I like about Flipgrid, it gives students the opportunity to be creative and to do things kind of on from a social networking standpoint, but it also can have serious topics and some really involved projects too. So it's not all fun and games. It really does have value and purpose. And I think if you're very intentional in the prompts that you provide to your students, this could be a really meaningful platform for students to engage with each other, to interact, and to also get some quality work out of them at the same time. Okay, this is what it looks like when someone has responded to another person in the classroom. So student number 4 has done their post, and 2 other students have responded to that. Okay, and so that's what it looks like when students go in and they see each other. I want to show you what it looks like from the teacher's perspective. So I'm going to go back to my grid. And let's say I'm ready to take a look at that and see what my students have done. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click on the Let's Get Acquainted. And I'm able to go down and I'm able to see who has posted already. And if I see that I don't like something that student number 9 has said, I can go over here and I can hide their response. Okay, so if they've put something that maybe I don't want the rest of the class to see, I can hide that response. I also can mediate if I wanted to, like review everyone before it becomes public. I could do that, but I don't recommend that because you're going to be doing a lot of reviewing and you'll have to keep on top of it if you want student posts to be available and posted right away. Okay, totally leave that up to you though. You can also delete a response and you can make an individual active or inactive or hidden in here too. Like you could make this hidden for student 9 and hidden for student 3 too. So only the rest would see, okay? And what you can do also is you can click on student 9 and you're able to view student 9 and you're able to give them a grade if you want to grade them in here, or if you want to provide feedback to the student, you can do that too, okay? So this is an opportunity to give them feedback on their particular video, okay? What I would recommend is if you are going to do a Flipgrid, start with a real easy one, like have them do an introduction, have them talk about something that they did over spring break or something that they've been doing for the last couple weeks, just to kind of get them used to it, and tell them that it's okay to play in here a little bit, but to be polite and appropriate. So that really is the presentation in terms of Flipgrid. So we covered like the benefits of using Flipgrid. We've seen how easy it is to sign up. What you're going to do is you're going to create a grid. Remember, a grid is like a community. So you're going to create a grid for each one of your classes, unless you don't mind having several sections in one, but I think that could get a little unwieldy for teachers. You've created the grid, and once you've created a grid, you're ready to add topics to that grid. So for my first period class, I could add a topic. I might want to add the same topic to every single one, okay? And you could just cut and paste that very easily and add that topic, okay? What I want to do, I just want to jump back into this presentation. I'll share this presentation with you. It just kind of shows you step by step, if you wanted to do it that way, how to create your grid. And what I'll do is I will put that link in the chat section right now. And I'll just say link to presentation. So if you do want to click on that and kind of follow that as you're developing your grid, you certainly can do that. Okay. The last thing I want to show you in this presentation is the Help Center. I have put a link in here to the Help Center and a link to the student intro. So if you wanted to add that link to your Schoology saying, hey, students, I know this is the first time we've used this. This will show you exactly how to create your first Flipgrid video. And I promise you, they probably won't have any questions for you after watching that, okay? And again, if you're already logged into your Flipgrid, I have so many open right now. If you're already logged into your Flipgrid, you can go to your top and pull down and click on Help Center in order to get to that Help Center, okay? If you just scroll down, it'll show you getting started for educators. And under the Flipgrid is free section, it kind of tells you some of the features, getting started for students, and how to record and submit your video. And teachers can submit videos just like that. You can do that in kind of the section. It can, in like the description section, you can add your own video there. So that's kind of cool too. And that might be a great way for students to actually see you, okay? And I think they're missing their teachers a lot, so it might be great if you do include a video in there. And then finally, I just want to go up to the top. Again, if I click on my grids, it'll show all the grids I've made. So for you, once you've created your classes here, you'll have your grids. You can click on each individual grid to start adding topics, which are like the prompts or the discussions. There's some other features at the top too. I'm going to go over really quickly. Mixtapes is, let's say you found some really great videos that your students have created. You can create like a mixtape of videos that you like. So if you click on mixtape, you can upload, you can create a mixtape and add some videos that your students have done. So maybe they've been like super creative, and you just want to add them to that so you can show future students exactly what other students have done. The Grid Pals is if you want to connect with other teachers within the Flipgrid community. You'll notice if you look at the map, if I were to go out, Flipgrid is used everywhere. So if you take a second, you'll see it's used everywhere in the country, and it's even used internationally. So if you want to connect with teachers in other areas, maybe you're doing an international study or you're a foreign language teacher, you could find some students in another classroom in the country that speaks that foreign language. So that would be great. That would be a really cool activity. And then the Disco Library is if let's say you're struggling for ideas and you want to see what some other teachers have done. What you can do is you can search to see what other teachers have done just by putting in a topic, and you can search that way. You can also search by grade level. Okay, so if you're looking for something maybe on a novel that you're reading right now, and you can put in 10th grade, and you'll probably see some other things that teachers have done with that particular novel. Okay, there are thousands and thousands of different grids that teachers have created that they are willing to share with you. So I would encourage you to take a look at the Disco Library. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up this session on Flipgrid. And again, I would encourage you, when you have some time, to do this. I think your students will really enjoy it. I think you could get some really quality products from your students, and you can make it fun too. Like with that one grid that I made with the topic, where the student did the book review, you could even have them dress up as a character in the book and present and ask, why you selected that particular character and dressed up as that character too. So it's a great way to promote critical thinking. You can have them problem solving in here. And most importantly, you're creating a really great classroom learning community where students are engaged and they're able to interact with each other. Okay, any questions?
Thank you so much, John. This is really cool.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you like it. Again, I've been using this for years, and I'll tell you, my students really like it, and they find it to be a lot of fun. And I've gotten some great work out of them in here. You can embed projects. And if you need some ideas for the different types of discussions, I do also teach a discussion board course webinar, which I think I'm teaching again on Friday. So if you want some ideas in there, I'm happy to share those too. Okay. Putting in a plug for my Friday webinar. Okay, great. Thanks, Marisol. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Are there any other questions before we adjourn? All right.
Thank
you guys
you.
have a wonderful day, okay? Go out, get outside and enjoy the sunshine, but do some social distancing too. All right.